I started running track when I was a junior in high school. I was sitting in Trig with two of my best friends who were on the track team, and they were like, hey, why don't you come out and try out? 2 days later, we ended up just going outside, out to the track.
Go!
Borrowed one of their spikes.
Come on, Morgan!
Ran a 400 in, I think, 57 seconds.
And holy fucking shit!
I finished, and I was like, I don't know if that was really everything I had. I felt like I could do it better, so I ran another 400 meters and ran another 57 seconds, and they were like, okay, we think that you could be pretty good at this.
Morgan Murray, South Brunswick took the lead at the bell.
Morgan of South Brunswick is a gamer.
By the following spring, I was one of the best runners in the country.
Who's it gonna be? Murray!
Morgan Murray, 151.
What was crazy is that I did it off of maybe on average like 10 miles a week.
Morgan Murray, the state Group 4 champ at 800 meters.
With such a rapid progression, I thought if I go to college and I get the right environment around me, I was just destined for the Olympics.
Morgan Murray, South Brunswick, look at this time.
The transition from high school to college was pretty intense. I was running maybe 40, 50 miles a week. The training was a lot harder just in general as well. It was a lot of high intensity work, and it seemed like that was paying off. And then I ended up pulling a muscle in my lower back, and then that just set off a cascade of injuries that plagued me for the next like 2.5 years. Just never really returned to that sort of form, and it was really taking a mental toll on me. I was just really confused. I couldn't understand how I was doing way more work, yet I was worse, constantly getting injured. I really just kind of like thought maybe there's just something wrong with me. I just must not be cut out for the sport, which is really hard to go from that. I mean, it's extremes, right? I go from the extreme of being like, I'm gonna be an NCAA champion, I'm gonna go to the Olympics, to I don't even like belong in the sport, I can't cut it. So I just decided, I'm going to step away from the sport. So I quit the team my junior year. At that point, I had to kind of reconstruct my whole relationship with exercise. I was so overtrained. Even just the thought of doing a push-up made me nauseous. 10 months later, I kind of had this moment of can I really leave the sport like this? Can I walk away and not try something else? Maybe it's the environment, maybe it's the training. And at the time I was studying exercise science, so I figured, at least from a training standpoint, I could try something different. So I started training myself my senior year, and I just took a really low volume approach. Only did things that made me excited. I was doing maybe 20 to 30 miles a week. I actually got myself back down to within a second of my high school PR. So I ran 151.7. But, unfortunately, while I succeeded in that comeback season, I found in the aftermath really difficult to commit to the sport, and essentially got to a point where it was every day felt like I was climbing Mount Everest to try to go out for my runs. I didn't feel good when I was finishing distance runs and stuff like that, and again, it just kind of compounded this belief that I was not a distance runner, that I couldn't really handle the volumes that were necessary to compete at a high level. And then 2020 COVID hit. I took COVID as an opportunity to sort of step away from running. Now, in a way, I didn't actually step away from running because I was coaching and I was getting my master's in kinesiology and applied physiology at Rutgers. So, I was learning more about the sport, learning more about what it meant to train properly, to build teams, to build culture, and putting those theories, those ideas to the test actively. But I never really was I need to start running again. I kind of had proven to myself I knew what I was doing from a coaching standpoint and a training standpoint because I had brought myself back. So then post the bulk of the pandemic, I got hired full-time to the faculty at Rutgers in the Department of Kinesiology and Health, and I started teaching and just really started to dive deeper into training science, and was doing a lot of self-reflection and trying to unpack what exactly happened to me. And so essentially I'm at this point where I feel like I actually have perspective on what went wrong. Now I understand that it was absolutely partially the training and the environment that I was in, but I also recognize my own role in my downfall. I was pathologically obsessed with winning, and I wanted everything to happen quickly. I couldn't think about the long term. So anytime I got injured, I thought, I have to make up for lost time. I never let my fitness build naturally. I was just always pushing. There was no such thing as an easy run. I was essentially doing a workout every day. My desire to get as good as possible was actually detrimental to my long-term development. Now, 10 years on from me running my fastest time in the 800, I actually do have a better perspective on the mindset that I would need to run well. And I also have the best grasp on training science that I've ever had. I feel like I actually have the tools to run even faster. I don't know about in the 800, but I think that I have the tools to become a better runner than I ever was. My thought process is, if I could run 150 in the 800 and 418 in the mile with about a year's worth of training, I don't see why I wouldn't be able to run faster or better or become a better runner in general with a 5-year plan to increase my volume, increase my intensity in a sound and responsible way without that pathological mindset of like, I'm gonna sacrifice every single thing that makes me happy in this world to achieve this end goal. I don't think I need to do that. So ultimately, I'm gonna just train myself, thinking long term and really being patient and building my training the way that I need it and seeing where it takes me. I'm curious to see what happens. And I think this whole series is really just going to be me just trying to document my reintroduction into running, but to do it in a way that hopefully people get something out of it if they want to.